opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a beautiful Monday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet, in Austin Town. Man, what a great sponsorship they've been. We want to take the time to thank them for, all they've done for everything that we do at Running Point. Everything that we do couldn't be done without Greenwood Chevrolet. So today, I want to take the time to thank them and remind you that if you're in the need of a new or used vehicle, make sure to go down to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. Got a great show today. We have officially gotten to the end of the high school spring sports season, and it is a happy ending for YSN because West Branch 2024 state champions, and what a ride it was, especially the last three games of the tournament when we talk about exciting ways to win a game, some comeback victories, some times when West Branch looked like they were in trouble, and they just snatched the will to win right out of the air and got the state championship. Final score against Baden was 3-2. What a great baseball game. Let's dive into the two games that happened since the last time we talked. We were here on Friday listening to it live, the first two innings of the first West Branch game. Going to pull up the box scores. But so we go back to the Indian Creek game. When we left Running Point, it was tied up at 1. Right, so we saw both teams get a run in. No, West Branch actually led 1-0. I'm sorry, when we left, because we left after the second inning was done. Indian Creek took a 2-1 lead in the third. Bottom of the third, they score their 2 runs. It's 2-1. And then when you look at the rest of the game and how it went, it stayed that way until the top of the 6th inning. West Branch, 6 outs left, down by a run. Their offense wasn't doing much for 3 straight innings. I should say 5 straight innings, 5 straight scoreless frames. It could have been easy to pack in the towel there and say, you know what, our offense isn't working. But in the 6th, they get 2 runs, and both runs scored with 2 outs. So the inning starts with a ground out, then a walk, then another ground out. And then West Branch comes up with a big double from Anthony Perry. That ties the game at 2. An error, and the wheels just kind of fell off for Indian Creek at that point. They made the error, a base hit, put West Branch in front 3-2. And then they get out of that inning. Indian Creek comes up, hits a leadoff double, but then a double play gets West Branch pretty much out of that inning, a ground out to end it. And they come up in the 7th looking for a little bit of insurance. First 2 batters get out. So a 1 and 2. Strikeout, ground out, but then base hit, gets West Branch a 4-2 lead, back-to-back hits, and West Branch is able to hold it. They were able to work around a walk in the bottom of the 7th, and they get the win. You look at the score, the box score, I should say: 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for West Branch, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Indian Creek. The offense for the Warriors was pretty spread out. They had 4 different hitters get their 4 RBI. Tucker had one. We saw Alazas have an RBI, 2 hits on the day for Anthony Perry. He had the RBI as well, and then one from the second half of the order. And Biscup, he went 1 for 2 with a walk and an RBI. Alazas, the pitching staff, is the highlight of this state tournament run. He went 7 innings on Friday, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs. Both of them were earned. He struck out 4. So and what I was really impressed with, he navigated some walks. Like, his command wasn't the best it's ever been, but he was able to navigate that, work with base runners on, work around some walks, and then stay away from walks in really bad situations. Sometimes it's not about how many walks you have, but when you have them. Walks are as big as the results they cause. Leadoff walks usually come back to bite you, and then walks with runners on base are the ones that really hurt too. But a couple of walks here and there with 2 outs, in strategic situations where it's a hitter that you think is a little bit better, might hurt you a little bit more, that's okay, right? So Bo Alazas, 5 walks. Yes, you'll look at that from an outsider's perspective, and you say that's going to be a little bit of trouble, but he was able to navigate it really well. And even with the 5 walks, he is still threw less than 100 pitches. So he was efficient with the pitches that he did throw to get outs. 99 pitches on the day. So 1 below 200. 1 below 100, I should say, for Bo Alazas. So that was big. They get the win over Indian Creek. They advanced to Sunday. And then on Sunday, they played Baden. Hamilton Baden, who's pitching really, really impressed in their state semifinal win. And this is a scoreless game through 3. The way this breaks down, no one scored through 3. Baden finally cracks through in the bottom of the 4th with a run. Then they get a run in the bottom of the 6th. And that insurance run, the way this game was going, really just, it felt like a nail in the coffin from an outsider's perspective, because West Branch had 1 hit in the 6 innings. This pitching staff was really doing a good job keeping West Branch off balance. But then, for whatever reason, and I don't know if, and we don't follow Baden, I don't know if this is their normal closer and they bring him in this situation all the time, or if there was maybe something happened to their starter who they needed to bring him out. It wasn't a pitch count issue because their starter had 77 pitches through 6 innings. So he was nowhere near the 1-game pitch limit, right? So he didn't have to come out. But for one reason or another, they bring out the pitcher that's throwing a 1-hitter through 6, and West Branch takes advantage of the bullpen. And I don't know, this kid may have had really awesome numbers all season. This could have been their closer that say, hey, we're up by 2 in the 7th. Go in, shut it down like you always do. But West Branch never say die. They came back from the deficit in the state semis and late in the game. They knew how to be in this situation, and they took advantage of it in the 7th. They start the inning with a base hit, then they'll walk, and then a sacrifice bunt, and then a base hit. Makes it 2-1. RBI ground out ties up the game, and then they're able to score the game go-ahead run on a wild pitch to make it 3-2. So 3 runs, top of the 7th, I should say. You got 3 outs to work with. West Branch scores 3, and they go ahead. Now, the top of the 7th, you go, okay, we just got to keep this offense down. We've been pitching really well all day. They get a fly out, and then things get a little dicey, right? A 2-out double puts the game-tying run in scoring position, but a fly out into foul territory on the first base side ends the game, gives West Branch the win, 3-2, the final score. Both games, 2 runs given up for West Branch. We look at the final box score for the Warriors. They had 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error. Baden had 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors. You just look at that by itself, and you don't know anything else happened in the game. You go 3 hits, 5 hits, 1 error, no errors. You think, okay, Baden had this under control, but it's all about timely hitting, taking advantage of the opportunities you have, and that's what West Branch did really well. Only had 3 hits in the game, but they made the most of them. Boston Molinix, top of the order, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Tucker got an RBI as well, and those were the 2 RBIs for West Branch. Remember, the third run came in on a wild pitch, so no RBI given there. And then the big star of the day really was the pitcher, Anthony Perry, who's been the championship pitcher for West Branch all throughout the tournament run. He went 7, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them was earned. And he did walk 5 just like Bo Alazos, but once again, just like Bo, navigating with runners on and being able to bow up when you need to. Not about the quantity of walks, but about when you walk and what kind of situation those walks entail. He didn't get himself into trouble with the walks. A lot of them were strategic walks that are just kind of, I don't want to say pitching around guys, but hey, let's get in the corners of this guy. And then, we didn't get the calls we wanted, but we tip the hat and we say we're not going to give this particular hitter, too much of the plate. Those kind of walks are a little bit different. And when they come, once again, they didn't come in very, bad situations that you don't want walks to happen. Perry was able to do it with 98 pitches. So 1 less than Bo Alazos in the win of the state semifinals. That's cool. 98-99 for Bo and Perry in the state championship. West Branch gets the win, their first team state championship since 2004 as a school, when their girls basketball team won it over Hamilton Baden. You can't write this stuff, right? That's like a screenplay right there. When you win your the last state championship win for a team sport was against the same team you just beat 20 years later. That's just one of those really cool, you can't make up that stat. Really cool moments. You look at the run West Branch had, and we talked about this with Coach Molinix and the team on Wednesday for their state send-off show. The whole month of May, it seemed like everything just kind of clicked right into position. I'm not saying that they weren't a good team outside of May. They were. They got big wins outside of May. But you look at the month of May, they opened it up with a loss to Salem. That hurts. It was 9-8. And then from that point on, you look at a win over Maslin Jackson, a win over Mooney, a big 1-0 win over Mooney, a win over Canton Glen Oak. And they go into the tournament. They get the win over Jefferson. They beat the big, mighty Canfield Cardinals 5-3. They beat NDCL 1-0. I mean, they're just finding ways to win games. Then they get a win over Geneva 9-1. They beat JFK, once again, a state contender in Division 4, 4-1. They go to the regionals. They beat Ursuline 6-0. They beat Kenston, the reigning state champions, 2-1 in walk-off fashion. They go to state 4-2, 3-2. That means the month of May, the most runs scored on them was, Columbiana got 10, 12-10. But I was almost going to say the loss to Salem, but that's not the case. Columbiana did get 10 on them in a 12-10 victory for West Branch. But most of the month of May, especially the tournament run, pitching became a big factor. And I've been saying it all year when it comes to baseball, especially leading up to when we're talking about tournament time. And I was talking about these teams. When you get into tournament time, you go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and the rest of your guys are there for bullpen support if needed. But Bo Alazos and Anthony Perry proved to be a just almost unstoppable 1-2 punch throughout the whole tournament. And you can't go 1-2 throughout the regular season. You have to go 1-2, 3, 4, sometimes get in there with a fifth guy if you have a long week because of pitch count. You have to have rest, right? So Bo Alazos maybe pitching one time in a week for the regular season gets to go and just go 1-2. And that makes teams very dangerous when you look at their stats. You go, well, they're not pitching amazing. They allow some runs. But you forget in baseball where it's like, yeah, but their 1-2 starters are consistently right there. And when they have to go 1-2 the whole time, Anthony Perry and Bo Alazas pitched the complete games in the state championship and semifinals, right? So 1-2, boom, boom, we're done. Let's get out of here and let's go party. Pitching can be pitching numbers during the regular season for high school baseball can be slightly deceiving as a team. And you look at West Branch though, and I know that kind of sounds like, oh, West Branch had bad pitching numbers. They really didn't. You know, you look at their whole season. They're not giving up a ton of runs. They have a couple of games here and there where the runs get a little bit elevated, but they had plenty of shutouts, plenty of one-run victories. Going all the way back to the first time they beat Ursula in the regular season with a 3-0 win. They beat Howland 8-1. They shut out Minerva 5-0. They shut out them again 10-0. They had a span of 4 straight shutouts there with the EBC. 1 run to Green. They shut out Marlington. But, you know, like I said, every now and then there's a game right there where it's like, okay, we're kind of running low on pitchers. And that gets the team ERA a little bit up because, you know, they had to play a weekend game against South Range, and it's 14-12, right? Okay, but it's a Saturday. We've already used the bulk of our bullpen, the bulk of our pitchers. This is going to be an offensive game, 14-12. But then you go right back to the next week where we start with the 1-2. It's 11-0 win over Girard and a loss, but just the 3 runs given up to Alliance. They actually got swept by Alliance, but only gave up a total of 8 runs in those 2 games. They gave up 1 run to Fitch. But then once again, end of the week on a Saturday, this kind of hurts the pitching numbers, right? 11-10. So don't look at numbers when you're looking at baseball teams and you're trying to predict how much a team can make a run in the tournament. It doesn't work like that for the regular season. You're going to have those games where you have to rely on your offense. It's just the nature of high school baseball. But when you go to the tournament, go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and you have a really good consistent 1-2 punch, you're going to be in good shape. We've seen a lot of teams in baseball be able to do that and have the same story the West Branch did, where, you know, there are some games in there in the regular season that don't go their way, and they let up, you know, more runs than they want, but it's not their 1s and 2s. So Bo Allisop, Anthony Perry, they both did a great job throughout the whole tournament run, and they continue to do really, really well. So congratulations to West Branch on their run through state, and we want to congratulate them on a state championship. They definitely earned it. That was such a fun weekend to wrap up the high school baseball season. And I also want to give a shout out to Matt Marr, who did a really good job calling those games for us on YSN. He was a great voice of the West Branch tournament run. He stayed with them through Canal Park, did a great job calling those games. We got to get a taste of it here on Running Point. And, man, what a phenomenal job he did. He earned that right to go and call them at state. And I know that was something that he really enjoyed, and we enjoyed watching and listening to his broadcast. So let's transition, because we talked about state championship, and we want to congratulate West Branch, of course. But we also have a lot of Class B baseball that got done over the weekend. I want to go over all the games that we saw on a full screen, the Class B website. If you want to check out the Class B website, make sure to go over to youngstownclassb.com. You'll find game schedules for all the age divisions, as well as information on everything that's going to be going down at Bob Scene Park throughout the summer. We're going to start with 18U. They played on Friday night since the last time we talked. Just to go through scores for Friday night. Athletics gets the win over Creekside on Friday, 10-1. And then we saw Prospects get the win over Ballistic, 11-1. Avalanche gets the big win over Nightline, 10-9. We saw the 3B Barons lose to the Astro Falcons, 9-7. And last but not least, Dura Edge got the win over Eagleware, 13-0. We hop to a very busy Saturday. This is where we'll start to look at the box scores a little bit. Saturday and Sunday, both busy days for 18U. We had 6 games go down on Saturday. We saw Creekside and Avalanche do battle to start the day. Avalanche with a big day, 11-0. They get the win on Scene 3. Let's take a look at what went down in this game. A lot of offense for Avalanche. They scored 1 in the first, 6 in the second, 4 in the third, and it was pretty much their game from that point on. Big offensive day from a bunch of people. Nick Solderich went 1 for 3 with 3 RBI, 2 RBI day for Drew Gold and Ivan Rudiak. They both went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored. Gold had a walk. We had 2 RBIs from Grayson Eicher, who went 2 for 3 with a run scored. RBI as well from Noah Filson. You look at the offense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different hitters with RBIs on the day. That's how you do when you have 11 runs. And then Maddox Bell pitched the complete game. Excuse me, in the run rule victory. 5 innings pitched, gave up 3 hits, no runs, struck out 6, walked 1. So an all-around great performance from Athletics, the pitching and the hitting, both doing well on Saturday. Go back to the scoreboard. We see an offensive battle after the pitching that we just said from Avalanche. We saw Prospects and Dura Edge score a combined 27 runs in a 17-10 win. Prospects win over Dura Edge. They started the game down 5-0 after 3 innings, but they tie up the game with 5 runs in the fourth. Dura Edge comes back, takes the lead, 6-5. And then Prospects get the lead 8-6. Dura Edge takes back the lead 9-8. And then this is when Prospects took over, 2 runs in the 6th, 7 runs in the 7th after a tie game going into the final inning. Just a monster consistent performance, especially coming back from a 5-run deficit. That's always big time, no matter what team you're playing on or what level you're playing on. You look at the offense, a lot of RBIs. They're spread out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different hitters with RBIs for the Prospects. Big day at the plate for Dominic Santee, who went 2 for 4 with those 2 RBI. 2 RBI day as well from Ethan Powell, who also went 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. And then we go to the bottom of the order, and 2 RBIs from Ryan Kirk, who went 1 for 2. The offense for Dura Edge was good. They did have their moments for sure. They had 3 RBIs from a big day from Blake Jeffries. We know what kind of season he had in the high school year. He went 3 for 4 with 3 RBI and 2 runs scored. 2 RBIs from Parker Dobson, who went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. And then a couple of RBIs spread out from the rest of the lineup with 3 players getting 3 apiece. You can see them there. This is a big day for both offenses. That's going to happen in Class B baseball. We've seen it go both ways, where we see pitchers duels, we see offensive slugouts, and we know that that's what makes Class B baseball so entertaining. You never know what you're going to get. Next game was the Athletics getting the 11-4 win over Nightline. Look at the way this game went down. 4 runs in the first, setting the tone, and then if they didn't set it in the first, they set it in the second. 9 runs in the first 2 innings. They added 2 across the rest of the game, and they get the 11-4 win. 11 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors for Athletics. We go down to their offense. Big day at the plate from Anthony Treveri. No shocker there. He's a great player. 2 for 4 with 4 RBI. 1 run scored. You had a RBI from Cody Bungart, Paul Gubba, and Ethan Culbertson. They all had RBIs on the day as well from Athletics. Did not pitch that bad. Anthony Treveri, 7 innings pitched, did give up 6 hits. Only 3 earned runs, but the big number, striking out 10, only walking 1. That is a pitcher's dream when you talk strikeout to walk ratio. Man, I think any coach alive would take 10 strikeouts and 1 walk every day. We go from that one, the 3B Barons, the new kids on the block. They got the 8-0 win over Ballistic. And here's how that game shaped out. Scoreless through 4, and then 5 runs in the 5th, 3 runs in the 6th. They break the scoreless tie, the Barons, with an explosion in the 5th and 6th innings to win 8-0. Here's the offense for the Barons. You can see it right there. RBIs, 3 of them from Tommy Caroli. He went 2 for 4. Perfect day at the plate for Ryan P. I hope I'm saying this right. Pikatoski, who went 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. They had 5 of the 8 RBIs with those two combined. They have a couple of others, Nick Thomas and Ben Miller, both with RBIs. And then bottom of the order there, Chase Baran with an RBI as well for the Barons. 5 innings pitched from Zach Koch, who went 4 hits, no runs given up, struck out 3. None of the runs that were given up were earned by the 3B Barons. And it's interesting that the box score says no runs given up by the pitchers, but it was 8-0. I'm thinking about the last game. I got the last game in my head. I said they scored 4 runs. No, they didn't. 3B Barons shut them out. Great pitching from Zach Koch, and then Joey Pugh came in with an inning of relief. Didn't give up any runs, any hits. No, nothing. Didn't walk anybody either. So really gave up nothing. A perfect inning from Joey Pugh for the Barons. So they went 8-0 on Saturday. Let's go into the next one. Prospects playing their second game of the day. This one did not go as well as the last, as Dura Edge gets the win this time 11-1. So you go from allowing 17 runs to the pitching bowing up and allowing a 1 run in an 11-1 run rule victory for Dura Edge. 4 in the first. The only run Prospect scorer came in the first, a good response to stay in the game, but Dura Edge scores 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th to win 11-1. Dura Edge offense, 5 RBIs. Ooh, what a day for Andrew Porto. 2 for 3 with 5 ribbies. A perfect day at the plate for Alex Eusebio. No shocker there. We all know how good Mr. Eusebio is. He went 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 3 RBI for Dura Edge. And in the pitching, it was Ethan Fiesel who had himself a day. 7 innings, only 2 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 5. For the Prospects, they got an RBI from Dominic Santee. He went 2 for 3 on the day, and that was the only RBI of the day for the Prospects with the 11-1 loss to Dura Edge. Santee had a good day overall in both games against Dura Edge, though. Last but not least, we have the Astro Falcons. They do all the damage in the world against Eagleware, 16-1, the final score here. 5 runs in the first, 3 in the second, 5 in the third. This game was over pretty quick as a run rule was in effect after 5. Astro Falcons offense, let's look at it. 6 RBIs. Oh, my word. On a perfect day for Ben Kern. He went 3 for 3 with those 6 ribbies, 2 runs scored. They also got 3 RBIs on a perfect day from Blake Primrose, who went 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored and a walk. And they also had 4 RBIs spread out from 4 hitters. AJ Verdi, Tommy Zimmerman, Brady Miller, and Rocco Galmarini. Sorry, they made that last name in lowercase for some reason. That threw me off. They all had RBIs. You match that with really good pitching from Colton Rourke, and you get a big victory. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 10, walked 1. Talked about it earlier. That is a great strikeout to walk ratio that any coach would love to have on their team. So that does it for Saturday's 18U action. If you thought the 18U was done, though, no. Class B gets wild on the weekends. They play a lot of baseball on Saturdays and Sundays. They had 6 games on Saturday 18U had 7 yesterday. All these recaps can be found on ysnlive.com, by the way. Make sure to go check out our website for all your Class B coverage. Dura Edge continues their offensive power as they win 17-2 over Eagleware. You combine the runs in the last 3 games for Dura Edge. Let me do the quick mental math. 38 in 3 games. That's is that good? I think that's pretty good. You see how the game transpired. Offense didn't really come until the 6th, where they scored 10 runs in that 6th inning. That was enough to give them the run rule through 6. Dura Edge with 4 RBIs from Luca Franzaglio, who went 2 for 2 with those 4 RBIs, also drew 2 walks. Pair of RBIs from Tanner Stricko, who went 3 for 5 with those pair of ribbies, and a couple other with 2. As Drew Cochler had 2 RBIs, so did Alex Zordich as well. They both went 1 for 4 on the day. Pitching-wise, getting the win, Zachary Davis. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits, and struck out 3, walking 5. And he did all of it in 81 pitches, which is impressive. 6 innings, 81 pitches. You do the math real quick, and I'm going to do it real quick for you so you don't have to get out your calculator. $81 divided by 6. And you're about 13.5 pitches. Actually, 13.5 on the dot. I shouldn't say about. 13.5 pitches per inning. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good pitch efficiency, if I do say so myself. And Dura Edge gets the big win. Like I said, 17-2, the final score there. Creekside loses to Athletics 10-0. I want to check out the pitching from Athletics in this one because it was pretty good. That Creekside offense, hard to shut down. I'll give you a quick glance at the hitting. We gotta speed things up a little bit. I noticed the time, so you look at the hitting stats right there. You see all the big bats for Athletics, but do want to talk about Brandon Ray. Brendan Ray, who went 5 innings, shut out Creekside, only gave up 4 hits, struck out 5. Once again, Creekside, pretty tough to shut down as an offense. 3B Barons get the win 17-1 over the Prospects. We have Creekside getting the win 8-6 over Nightline. Astro gets the win over Ballistics 13-4. And Avalanche get the win over Eagleware 12-10. Once again, all these recaps, and if you want to see the stats for every game, they can be found on ysnlive.com. I want to go to the standings real quick, see what they look like after the busy weekend. We have the Astro Falcons in front. They're 8-1. They are tied with Athletics at 9-2. You have 3B Barons a half game back of both of them with 8-2. Avalanche 7-4. Dura Edge 6-5. Creekside 6-5. Ballistic 3-8. Nightline 3-8. Prospects 3-8. Eagleware rounding out the standings with an 0-10. 18U will be in action tonight, and here's what the games will have in store. 5 games from Bob Scene Park tonight as they go back to their normal week schedule where it'll be 5 games each day for the rotating divisions. We have Eagleware against Creekside, Athletics against Prospects, Nightline against 3B Barons. We have Dura Edge against Astro, and Ballistic against the Avalanche. Let's go to 16U real quick and see what they did over the weekend. Just going to go through scores, but once again, these games can be found, recaps can be found at ysnlive.com. Astro Falcons get the win over Eagleware, 10-6, the final score there. Ballistic falls to Athletics 8-1. 3B Barons fall to Avalanche 7-6. Creekside wins over Prospects 5-2. And Nightline and A to Z do a pretty good job of scoring, but A to Z gets to win 8-5. On Sunday, 5 more games for 16U. We have the Avalanche getting the win 8-0 over A to Z. Prospects get the win over Nightline 10-3. Athletics get the win over the 3B Barons 7-4. Eagleware lose to Creekside 17-3. And Ballistic falls to the Astro Falcons 7-0, the final score there. Those are your games for Sunday. Quick look at the 16U standings here. After a busy weekend, Avalanche have the 1.5 game lead over Astro Falcons. Falcons are 8-3, Avalanche 10-2. We have Athletics at 7-4, 3B Barons at 7-5, Prospects at 7-5, Creekside and Nightline both 6-5, Ballistic 4-8, Eagleware 2-8, and A to Z Athletics 2-8, Eagleware running out the lineup at 0-11. So those are your 16U standings. Their week begins on Tuesday, and we'll talk about Tuesday's games, of course, on Running Point when that day comes. So those are your Class B results from the weekend. And that'll do it for our recap of Class B. Now, we do have a couple of player profiles that we still have in the can from the end of spring sports season. I want to make sure they all get played, and I really just realized that they didn't get played yet as I was going through the downloads, deleting all the stuff from spring sports off the computer. So we want to make sure we get to them, so we're going to play one here for you today to continue our trend of player profiles being featured on the show. So Ashley Rupert has not been featured on Running Point yet from South Range. So we're going to play her player profile here for you today. And what a great player that is going to have a great future. 2 more years at South Range. They have a lot to look forward to in Ashley Rupert. And a lot to look forward to in the bat. And I'm excited to see where she goes, or if she starts to go in the field a little bit. She's been their DP almost all season. So here's Ashley Rupert. Anthony Hartwig here with a South Range softball player profile. We continue previewing the state semifinals on Thursday with another look inside the program. And we have Ashley Rupert joining us today. Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So this has been a wild ride for you this year. You know, the Raiders got to state last year. They get you right back to state this year. Talk about what it's been like going through this with your team and, you know, for the first time of you being on the varsity level and having a solid impact every game, what it's been like for you to navigate this season and see yourselves in state now.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get back at the the state level. I was there last year with the team, batting also. So I'm very excited to see what we can bring to the table this year.
When you think about that experience you had last year, especially late in the season, like you said in state, what kind of things do you take away? What kind of things do you think you learned from last year's game that you're going to take into the prep work and into the mentality of this year's state semifinals?
Definitely at the plate, especially for me, you have to be very ahead. These pitchers, they're not messing around. They're going to be pitching strikes and they're going to be trying to get you to swing at almost anything. So you definitely have to be all the way in and ready from the very first pitch.
What were some things that you kind of worked on the off season, knowing that this year you were going to have, you know, a much bigger role and put a lot of more responsibilities on your shoulders this year?
I definitely knew that batting was going to be a very big thing for me since I started last year batting. So I definitely worked on that. A lot of movement pitches, dipping. I have a really bad habit of that. So I definitely worked in that very, very hard in the off season.
Being one of the players that comes with experience from last year, there are a lot of players on this team that didn't have that are kind of coming into a bigger varsity role, or maybe their first year with a consistent varsity role. What kind of things did you tell those players and what you learned from last year to get them ready for it?
It's definitely very nerve-wracking the first like couple at times like during the games, but after that you just kind of settle into a groove and they just become like your sisters and it's like playing any other game. So I told them just relax and everything will play itself out.
Now, a lot of people kind of forget about this. It's under the radar, but a big reason the Raiders are here is because of your pitching performance against Poland in the district semifinals. You came in, you shut the door, you made sure that Bulldogs offense didn't catch you guys. Talk about that and being able to be in the circle in such a big moment and what that did for you in that confidence level for your pitching.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a lot of confidence. I was very nervous going in since I haven't pitched a lot in this season. And coming in for Jaylee is like such an amazing opportunity because she's such a great pitcher. And like, if she was like struggling a little bit, like I was very nervous how I was going to react to the situation.
I know you used to say you didn't get to pitch a lot, not a lot of innings this year in the games, but obviously you do a lot of hard work in the practices and you show, in warm-ups what you can do. What did it mean to you that Coach DeRose, you were the one that he turned to and said, okay, we're in a sticky situation. Ashley, I trust you to get us out of it.
It meant a lot to me. It gave me confidence that he had confidence in me to be able to do that. So it like very much ever since that happened, I've had more confidence in myself to be able to participate.
And let's just expand on Coach DeRose because this program, even before you got there, has been good for, 10 plus years, dating back to the first time they went to regionals in 2010 under his coaching tutelage. So what do you think it is about Coach DeRose and Coach Farron that just lets a really good, successful player like yourself and like all your teammates flourish and has had a consistently good program?
We work very hard all season. Even in the fall, we have open gyms, workouts, everything. And I also think just because they have a really good relationship with all of the players. I mean, even outside of softball, we go to his house and we have dinners. And I just think that really helps like build the relationship and like trust between the players and the coaches.
Now, in his coach's corner for the season preview, he described himself as more of a softer coach. Do you see that, or do you see some of the not so soft side as Coach throws to in practice?
I think he is a softer coach. He definitely like knows what he's talking about and he'll definitely correct you if you're doing something wrong. But I wouldn't say he's hard on us, but he's not very like aggressive towards us.
When you think of maybe a part of your game that he is the most responsible for helping you grow in, what do you think you'd point to?
For me would be pitching. I think him and Donnie obviously are calling the pitches. So I think that's a very big part of the game. And then also at the plate for me, he'll give you pep talks before the game. And I think that very much helps my confidence in helping me.
This Raiders team has one senior on the roster, Gretchen Bartels. Everyone else coming back next year. What's it like going through this, knowing that everyone that you're playing with is going to be coming back, and you're going to be able to, whatever happens this year, you're going to be able to carry it right in next year?
Yeah. So all of the girls we've been playing since we were probably about 5 years old. And so I also think that's why we have such a good relationship. And even Gretchen, I've played with her a couple years in the past before. So I think we'll definitely be able to make it back to state again next year too.
Now I'm wondering, what some of the mindset was this season. We talked about getting the state last year and falling short in that state semifinal. Going through the year, that had to be in the back of your mind. So you still had to keep it game at a time. But how hungry do you think this team was all season with that goal in mind of getting back to Firestone where you're at right now?
Yeah, that's been the goal all season. It's always get to regionals and keep going to state. That's what we do every single year. We try our hardest just to make it as far as we can. And I mean, even when we end our season, we're still trying to find more games and trying to just get better as a team.
I want to talk about that regional walk-off from your perspective. You got to be a spectator of that, got to see Giada Pauline run all the way around the bases. What was going through your mind, especially when she turned around third and headed home?
Oh my gosh, I was so nervous for Tiana, especially I mean they had a great catcher and they had a great throw from the outfield too. So I was so nervous for her. She is very, very fast, but Like that was the game breaking point. So I was very, very nervous, and I was on the fence the whole time screaming.
Is that the best game you've ever been a part of in your softball career?
That would have had to have been the best game I've ever seen.
Hopefully, a state championship will be a little bit better.
Yes.
Right. Right, a little bit better. So let's talk about the break that you guys have between these tournament games, between the end of districts and regionals, now between the end of regionals and state. It's more of a breath than you guys get during the regular season. You have 4 or 5 games a week during the regular season. What's it been like to have a couple of days? I don't want to say off, but a couple of days where you can really get into practice, work on the things, and really fine tune yourself before the next round of tournaments.
Yeah, I think it's really nice how we have like the big breaks, because then me personally, I can work on things that I need. I know that's the same for other girls too. And then we can have individual practices with like the coaches, like special practices just for hitting and fielding and things like that. So I think it's really nice that we have like a big break.
We've also heard from a lot of players about how their instructors outside of high school help them in these kind of breaks. What about you? What kind of coaches do you go to? Do you have a hitting coach? Do you have a pitching coach? What kind of things do they help you with during the season?
Yeah, I go to Erin Gabriel. She's my pitching and hitting coach. I've gone to her for probably a little bit over a year now, and she's amazing. She's helped me so much, especially with my pitching and hitting too. We're fixing me dropping my hands, and my movement on my pitches has been so much better this year than it ever has been before.
I mean, getting to learn from someone like that and pick her brain, what's that like for you? I mean, being able to just learn from someone that played at Tennessee and played in the biggest games you could possibly play in.
Yeah, she was an amazing player, and every time she speaks, I'm just trying to soak it all in and try to remember everything she's saying, because I know she has so much experience in softball, and it's such like an amazing opportunity just to like be in her presence.
Knowing Erin pretty well, she is also big on the mental game of the sport, making sure you're in the right mental set. What kind of things has she told you about trying to get yourself into the right mental zone, and how has she helped you in the mental aspects of the game of softball?
She's definitely told me like write down notes, like have notebooks, and like keep like journaling of things that she's telling me during practice, so I can think of that stuff during the game, because like before an at bat you get so nervous and everything. So I just try to think right before I'm at bat. I try to think of everything she's telling me to do and just try to calm myself down and focus.
Everyone has kind of a pre-at-bat routine. What's yours? What's the one thing that you do every at-bat to make sure you're doing the same thing and you're in that right mental zone that you just talked about?
Right before I pray, and I'm just tell God, I'm like, just please calm my nerves and help me get through this. I know how to do this, and you do too. So just help me get through this. And then before every pitch, I take 2 practice swings.
Is it the same prayer every time, or do you kind of mix it up every now and then?
I usually mix it up, but it's usually along the same lines.
Right. All right, so I want to ask about the South Range community. We know they support you in every sport at South Range so well. What's it mean to you to be representing that school and that community for the second straight time in state?
Oh, South Range is absolutely amazing. I mean, we have such a great program in all of our sports, and our community is absolutely incredible. I mean, everyone comes out to support. And I mean, I even know when I was like 5 or 6, I would come and watch all of the softball games. And I remember when they went to state too. So it's a great like opportunity to be a part of this community.
Yeah, take us back to when you were a kid watching the South Range team go to state back in 2016. Do you have memories of that and being able to watch that and how much that has kind of fueled you in your career now?
Yeah. I remember we used to go to some of their practices, and you would practice as a like little rec ball team. I remember Selena and Jaylee were there. I even have a picture with Coach DeRose when I'm in my little softball uniform when I was like 8. And just being there with all of the girls was absolutely like amazing. I looked up to them so much, and I think it's just crazy that like little kids are now coming to watch our games, and they're looking up to all of us as players.
What's that do for you, knowing that there are kids in your position now that are watching you guys, and you specifically saying, when I grow up, I want to be in their shoes. I want to go to state. I want to be representing South Range that way.
Yeah, it feels great. Obviously, it's very nerve-wracking because, I mean, not only are all the parents watching, but now I have little kids looking up to me. So obviously, I don't want to mess up or anything, but it also gives me confidence to know that I felt the same way that they're feeling, and how I thought that they were absolutely incredible, and how that's they're thinking of me. So it also gives me confidence as well.
At the top, we talked about the raise in responsibilities from last year to this year, and most of that comes in leadership. Next year, it's going to be even more. Every year you just get put a little bit more. They expect a little bit more out of you. So, what kind of things do you think you're going to take from being a little bit more of a leader this year into next year when they're asked to be even a little bit more of a leader to more young players that are coming up as freshmen next year?
Yeah. I definitely took on a little bit of more of a leadership role last year. I was pretty quiet, so I think I'll probably do the same. And also, I just hope my hitting gets even better, and hope to even like give tips and just rally on the team.
All right, let's learn a little bit about you off the field. First and foremost, let's talk about your schoolwork. You're a student athlete, and student comes first in that word for a reason. What are some of your favorite things to study and some of the favorite things to learn about?
I think my favorite subject is probably history. I took a CCP history class this year, and I very much enjoyed it. It was amazing.
Have you had any teachers it's yet in your high school career that have really impacted your journey and helped you along the way?
Um, I think Miss Pav, Coach Pav, she's very much helped me in math. She was very, very inspirational. She gave me a lot of pep talks before games, even in class, when we were on game day, and she just gave me a lot of like life lessons to learn.
You get to see a couple of your coaches during the day in the school. What's that like to be able to not just see them in coach mode, but also see them in teacher and educator mode?
I think it's pretty fun to see them at school too, because we get to talk about practices and talk about the games, little funny moments during the games too. So I think it's nice having the coaches around. It's a very different like perspective to see of them.
Okay, going to school on game day, is it harder for you to focus or easier for you to focus when you know the game's coming up?
It's a little bit harder to focus, especially towards the end of the day, just because I'm very excited and nervous. But I think overall, I try to just relax and not think about it at all, so I don't, freak myself out.
You have obviously a long time to think about your career and your future after high school. You're not graduating yet. Thankfully for us, that we get to cover you for a little bit more. But what are some things? Do you have any things that's like starting to float in your mind about things that you might want to do, things that interest you, career paths that might interest you, things like that?
Yeah, I'm thinking about going into criminal justice. I don't know if it's always like interests me, maybe like FBI, just kind of like, I don't know. I like history and I like figuring things out, if that makes sense.
So you want to be like a crime scene investigator, figure
Yes.
things out, give me the puzzle. When you think about the ways that your family has impacted you, we like to talk about the families of these athletes that we have. So talk about your family a little bit. What makes them so special to you?
Yes, my family has supported me throughout my entire career, especially my dad. He's been sitting on the bucket since I was 8 years old, started pitching. He even turned our garage into a batting cage just so I could practice hitting and do some pitching in there as well. So they've been absolutely amazing throughout this entire softball journey.
All right, Ashley, we have two things that we've asked every softball player this year, so we got to get your answer for tallies, keeping the tally. First one is softball icks, things that make you cringe on a softball field. What's yours?
I think I'm gonna have to say when a girl wears their visor, and their ears are sticking out, or it's over top of the ponytail.
All right, we were in a tie with that in Nevage, and you just gave visors a lead, so visor up one. And then the other one that we've asked everybody, dugout snacks. If you had one dugout snack for the rest of your career, and that's all you could have, what would you pick?
Coach DeRose loves taffy, and I love it too. He gets it from Rhodes, and I think that's gonna have to be the top answer.
All right, I think you're the first one to say taffy. We like it though. We like unique answers. We like hearing it. Ashley, we want to give you the chance at the end of this profile to take the spotlight off yourself a little bit. Thank your support system. Thank the people that are in your life that are there for you. Give as many shout outs as you want. The time is unlimited.
All right. Of course, I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. They've helped me so much throughout my career and supporting me, getting me coaches, whatever I needed. to improve on everything. Of course, Erin Gabriel, she's my hitting coach and my pitching coach. She's absolutely helped me in the last 2 years. Her dad and George Gabriel and Brett Modick have also been my coaches throughout the past couple of years, and they've helped me improve so much as well.
All right, Ashley, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck in the state semifinals. We hope that you guys can come away with a big trophy this year. It would be the first one for this program. We wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much.
A great conversation with Ashley Rupert from South Range, one of the ones that we just still have to feature on the show. We like to feature every interview that we do during the season on the show, but as you know, limited amount of show times, and we do a lot of player profiles. So we have a couple still in the can that we're going to be featuring throughout the summer. You know, we'll just kind of be playing them when we need someone to be played. And like I said last week, we're going to fill the summer with, obviously, there's that word. I did a good job all day not saying it. I really was thinking to myself, I'm going to go this whole show without saying it. And right at the end, man, we're going to have Class B talk all summer. We're going to recap all the action, talk about the teams, and dive in the standings, talk about their tournament when that pops up, their playoffs, all that fun stuff. But we're going to get a little bit creative with guests too. This is when we can, bring on, big names in the softball world. For me, this is what I love, and bring on some local people that have done great things maybe in the past. We get a little bit creative in the summer with no high school sports going on. And we will also have Little League coverage, Class B coverage. We have All-Star games coming up. We do not stop our coverage when the book gets closed on high school sports in the spring. So summer months, you can always be a YSN. Check out our website, ysnlive.com. Check out our YouTube channel, YSN Live. Check out all of our social media pages, and make sure to give them all a follow and stay in touch with us throughout the summer, because we're going to keep having fun through Running Point. And I know YSN live broadcast will keep having fun as well. Class B action, I believe, on the network tonight. Let me see who you got on the network tonight. Let me go into our schedule. Let's see. We have Matt Marr going to be there on Scene 1 for the 5:30 and 8 o'clock games. That's going to be Eagleware and Creekside. And he'll also be there for Dura Edge and Astro Falcons. We will have video-only broadcast from the 5:30 and 3 o'clock games on Scene 3. There's going to be Nightline and Barons and Ballistic and Avalanche. All that 18U and Prospects and Athletics also playing on Scene 2 at 5:30. So we'll have 4 of the 5 games being played tonight from Class B baseball being covered. 2 on video only, 2 with Matt Marr on the call. Make sure to go to ysnlive.com/live. Check it all out. And that'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you all tomorrow.